Now the users of the Parts Unlimited service are complaining because the website seems to be working fine, but all of a sudden when they are browsing the site they are greeted with an error like this. But what's strange is that when they try again, just a few seconds later, the site is up and working again. And this is a typical example of what we call a flaky connection, which means that when you're building distributed systems that talk to external services, we can't be 100% sure that we will be able to reach that service because of network latency and high rise in traffic and so on. So we need to be able to handle that. And the way to do that, or one way to do it, is to implement some kind of retry logic, which makes the application, if they experiences this kind of error, the application will wait for a short time and then try the call again. Because if it is a flaky connection, we can be quite sure that it will work the next time, or maybe the time after that. In this case, we're using an open source library called Poly, which is a .NET resilience and transient fault handling library. And it supports different types of resilience policies, such as retry, more advanced scenarios like circuit breaker and bulkhead. And feel free to read more about it over at the GitHub site. Now, to make this easier for you, we have already implemented Poly in a separate branch called Challenge Flaky Connections. So for you to implement the solution for this would be then to create a pull request to get these changes into master. So let's head over to the pull request tab and create a new pull request. And while we're doing that, let's take a look at these changes so you can see what's actually been done here. So here you can see what we've added a reference to the Poly library. And if we take a look at, for example, the home controller, we can see that before, when we listed the products on the home page, we read straight from the entity framework context here. But in this branch, we're wrapping this code inside a SQL retry policy. So this is one of the policy classes available from the Poly network. And let's take a look how that is configured. So it's configured in the Parts Unlimited context class. And we specified here that we will retry up to 3 times. So the first time the code fails, it will wait for 5 seconds and then it will try again. And then if it fails one more time, it will wait for 10 seconds and then try again a 3rd time. And of course this can be configured differently, and in general you need to experiment with these numbers here to get a good end result for your application. So let's create this pull request to get it into master. So I'm just going to go ahead and approve it and complete it. And this will bring the changes into master, which will then kick off a build. So you can see that a build has been triggered here, and when that build has finished, it will trigger the release for the release part of your pipeline, and will deploy it into the production site. So now the release has finished, and we have deployed a new version of Parts Unlimited into production. And let's go back to the site and use it a bit. So what you will notice is that the site is working fine, and all of a sudden it's going to be a bit slower. And the reason for this now is that it's actually experiencing some error behind the scenes, but now it's waiting for a short while until it retries. And so the end experience for the end user will be now that the site is sometimes a little bit slower, but on the other hand, it doesn't crash anymore. It works, and the end user can continue doing his shopping at the Parts Unlimited.